Arhat Thich Thong Lac teaches living beings. Dedicated to Doctor of Buddhism. You have been controlled by the greed for fame, wealth, beauty, food, and sleep. On the path of cultivation, you have been defeated by the greed for fame, wealth, beauty, food, and sleep, and had to kneel down, pray, and beg for blessings, prosperity, and longevity. Of course, among thousands of people, there are still people who are awakened. How could Tan Tien be naive and generalize? Even in a net, there are fish that jump out. Let's untie each other's hearts. First, let's go back to the time when Buddha Shakyamuni preached. Before Prince Siddhartha became a monk, there were monks who were teaching practitioners the Dharma of practice. Prince Siddhartha received teachings from many monks. Whatever the first monk taught, he learned. After a long time, he understood the Dharma of practice and was better than the teacher. From a position higher than the teacher, he realized that this Dharma of practice was a heretic true path, not beneficial for practicing. Then he left his teacher and fellow practitioners to find another monk. But then, the other monk did the same. He practiced and achieved higher results than his teacher. From a position higher than his teacher, he saw that this practice was also a heretic true. Of course, when he left, most of his fellow monks whispered and condemned him, saying, "Gautama is a surrenderer. He doesn't know how to practice." Finally, he practiced and entered the realm of no perception, no non-perception. Meanwhile, his teacher had not yet entered it. From a position higher than his teacher, he said, "No perception, no non-perception, Tibetan spiritual powers, are just a pair of torn shoes, of no benefit to spiritual practice." He said that he had thrown away those torn shoes. Next, he decided to find another way of practicing. And he entered meditation for 49 days and nights. Finally, he discovered the truth of the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths perfectly answered the initial question that made him leave his wife and children, leave the Golden Palace, and go out with only the clothes on his back. He accepted the poorest life in the world to find the answer to his question. Why do people have to go through birth, aging, sickness, and death? After 49 days and nights, he found the answer. Next, he spent 3 weeks to find the practices to help practitioners master birth, old age, sickness, death, and no longer be reborn as a suffering, temporary human being. Stop here, let's think. One must practice thoroughly, then from that highest position one can be able to decide, is this an evil path or a righteous path? If you don't understand, how can you be sure it is a heretical or righteous path? Therefore, it is unfortunate for those who are caught up in evil ways and still foolishly and passionately indulge in them, as if they have learned a treasure. That is the reason why they practice for a long time but still cannot achieve success. And unintentionally, they become slaves to those who sit in the cool and eat from golden bowls. Unintentionally, they claim the evil religion as their own. They are ready to die for the evil religion if anyone opposes the evil religion, if anyone breaks the evil religion's rice pot. If it is a righteous path, there is no need for anyone to sacrifice. This is the principle. Finding the truth is one thing, but finding the right practice to help practitioners practice correctly is one thing, then one can attain the truth. That's what matters. Therefore, after attaining enlightenment, the Buddha spent more than 3 weeks perfecting his practice. Then he began to preach. A. Like a scientist, when they find the truth, patent, they must find a way to realize the truth. B. For scientists, when they find the truth, they come up with a solution and necessary and sufficient conditions. Anyone who applies it correctly will achieve the same results. C. Buddha is the same, but more sublime and wonderful. Scientist Einstein called Buddhism a super science because matter has only one phenomenon, but for humans, it's a myriad of things. Therefore, he had to create many practices, suitable for each practitioner to choose the Buddha Dharma that suits his or her own characteristics. Each monk must light his own torch and go. One person's torch, another person cannot borrow. Each practitioner must stay in a separate space, called solitude. Venerable Thich Thong Lac always emphasizes the top priority of living alone and traveling alone. Note: after Prince Siddhartha attained Buddhahood, he was still hated and slandered by many ignorant fellow disciples. After Bhikkhu Thich Thong Lac attained arahantship, he was still hated and slandered by many ignorant fellow disciples. Therefore, Buddhists should not waste time on idle curses. Let's practice thinking clearly. That is what Master Thong Lac taught, correct? Let's try to practice accordingly. Is it true that if we practice less, we will get less results, and if we practice more, we will get more results? That's enough.